Oh my gosh, you got it too?
She did a really good job.
I love it.
I'm happy. Wait, I'm sorry. Can you guys hear me? Is everyone on mute?
Yeah.
Thank you, Katya. How are you?
Good, thank you.
How is everybody? What?
We're waiting in there? I've been just sitting in there waiting.
I guess I'd rather just do it from my desk. Let's give other people a couple minutes. Lindsay, how's Texas? Show us Texas. Is that Antonio? Who is that?
This is Joey.
He looks just like Antonio.
Yeah. It's like gloomy here. It's been like just overcast every day. We have like some weird Sahara Desert storm cloud over us.
What? Isn't the Sahara Desert like in Africa?
Yeah, but like every couple of years, like there's this big dust cloud that comes to Texas and just like hangs over.
Got it. Spilled coffee on myself. Okay, so I'm gonna get started. I have a lot to talk about today. Mo is on the call as well. I had asked Mo to join us and talk a little bit about closing costs. There's been some questions recently about that. Mo, do you want to turn your camera on?
It's not letting me, which is probably better for you guys, but I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know why it's not letting me. It's weird.
Should have brought headphones. Oh, do I have headphones?
Let me see. I can ask to start the video for you.
Perfecto. Entonces voy a hacer la cita para el jueves a las 5. Yo le mando
Yeah, Mo, I don't know why everyone else is
Yeah.
There's no different link that you receive.
No, normally it works fine. It's just saying it select a different video camera, but I only have the one on the computer, so that usually works fine.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Okay, so why don't you, that's okay. It's a little weird to look at your name, but that's, I know like Anastasia, we were trying to figure this out last week about your offer regarding how to give people an accurate expectation of their closing costs. So I asked Mo to join us today and talk to us a little bit about how to let buyers know what they can expect to spend when they go to closing.
Yeah, so when we go over closing costs, we explain to buyers in the initial process, when we speak with them, we make sure they understand there are closing costs. A lot of buyers don't even understand there are closing costs. They get very hyper-focused on down payment and saving up for that and making sure they have enough money. So, they're kind of caught off guard oftentimes by closing costs in general. What I would say, being that most of our transactions are in Palm Beach, we get a little break because the buyer doesn't pay for their title insurance, the seller does. So that helps a little bit.
Wait,
but
Mo, can you just explain that? Because for a second, for some of the guys that are new, I want you to understand that in Palm Beach County, it's unusual. It's the only county where the seller pays for the owner's title policy. And I also want you guys to understand that there are two title policies. There's an owner's policy, and then there's also a lender's policy. So the borrower, whoever's buying the home, is always going to be the one to pay for that. Right, Mo?
yes.
And then the owner's policy. So actually buyers in Palm Beach save a little bit because when they buy, the seller will cover that cost.
Yes, they save, anywhere from $1,000 something to a couple thousand in some cases, depending on how big the loan is.
Right. And I also want to explain that that's a promulgated expense. You guys know what promulgated means? It means that it's determined, the rate is predetermined. So you can't negotiate that. That's based off of, it's 70 cents for every 100 after, I forget. What is it, Mo? Do you know offhand? Does anyone
I don't know how they calculate title on that part of it. I don't know how they calculate that. So
how is it calculated on the lender side?
On the lender side, for like our system automatically calculates title, so it's kind of built into the system. The thing that you can calculate in general is the doc stamps and intangible tax. It's 0.0055% of the loan amount. So basically $550 for every 100,000 accounts for their doc stamps and intangible tax that they pay.
Right. So I
So
want you guys to understand there's taxes when you buy a house. There's insurance policies. If you have a loan, there's a lender policy. And then there are additional fees. Those are kind of like the three general categories, I would say, right, Mo?
yes, so their unavoidable costs are title, doc stamps and tangible tax, 1 year of homeowners insurance upfront. You know, whether they're going to have the tax insurance included or not, they have to pay 1 year of insurance upfront. And then, you know, like a survey that the title company is going to order, they have to pay for. You know, if it's an HOA, there's usually some sort of upfront HOA fees as becoming part of the neighborhood that they have to pay and account for. So a lot of those little things sometimes throw buyers off, and we wouldn't know upfront necessarily what those are because we get them once the title company gives them to us. So, you know, the biggest surprises for the borrowers are usually they're not realizing that they have to pay a year of insurance upfront. Right now, insurance costs have skyrocketed. I don't know if you guys have talked about that, but like Palm Beach, Broward, Dade, every insurance person that I know is like, everything's up anywhere from 20 to 40% on their premiums. And if the house is older than like 2000, I think it is, you get really crushed. Like sometimes there's like 1 or 2 options only.
Is there anything you recommend doing? I know actually Courtney has a listing where they're specifically listing with her because of insurance. They want to sell it because they
Yes.
can no longer afford it. Is there anything that you recommend, like we can say or do to kind of overcome that obstacle?
I don't know. I mean, I get a lot of videos from a few insurance people, like just kind of reiterating the problem. Um, you know, one thing that's out there, I mean, I don't know that it helps you guys because it would hypothetically take a little time, but home buyers in general or homeowners, they can use like the PACE program to update their windows, for instance, and different things. It builds into the ad valorem of their property taxes so that they just have a monthly payment additionally. So, you know, they can switch out.
Program?
Yeah, it's you know, I'm paraphrasing, but it's like a state sponsored program because they want people to, you know, get hurricane impact windows. They want them to get, you know, upgrade to efficiency type things in the home. So it allows them basically to take the ad valorem tax they have and increase it and pay off the loan over time through their ad valorem tax. So like if you wanted to replace all the windows in your house, they're going to come out, they're going to check, they're going to make sure you have some equity in the home. Like they don't want to do it if you have no equity whatsoever. But then they're going to basically say, okay, replacing all the windows costs 25,000. If it's rolled into your ad valorem taxes, you know, you're going to pay 250 a month for the X amount of years to pay it off. So it's a program they set up. It's called PACE, P-A-C-E in Broward. There's another name for it in Palm Beach, I think. But if anyone's interested, I'll send a, Terry in my office did it for his house in Palm Beach. I have to see what the program was called in Palm Beach. But people can do that.
There's
Is that
also
also like a Y green too?
Yeah, that's similar. Exactly.
Okay.
yeah, so for those of you that don't know, there's something called Y Green. It's the letter Y and then Grene. And it's basically a program where you can finance certain items, for example, hurricane impact windows, doors, things like that. And it's at a 0% financing rate, which is pretty fantastic. You have to apply and certain items, equity, you have to prove that, you know, you've paid your taxes on time and things like that. But those are two things that might help bring insurance costs down. I don't know that that's like necessarily the answer. I think maybe something you can do to combat the high insurance costs is to talk about how low rates are. So with rates being low, they're saving monthly, even though they are spending more in insurance. Anyway, sorry, Mo, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
So just top to bottom on closing costs, right? So you have lender fees, you have, you know, appraisal, credit reports, little minor items. Then you have title insurance. Title insurance is going to be, I know you have a preferred title vendor. Maybe they can go over like how they calculate title so you can get a sliding scale. But I would assume, you know, on the standard transaction, it's going to be a couple $1,000s usually for title, even when in a lot of cases they're paying for the seller's portion that pays for the buyer. Your doc stamps and tangible tax are 0.0055% of the loan amount. So for every 100,000, that's $550. You know, let's say the average loan amount's like 250-ish. They're going to pay about 1,400 on that, roughly 1,300, 1,400 on that. Escrows is what gets a lot of people.
Okay, sorry, that's a good point. Escrows, yeah.
Escrows gets a lot of people because, you know, if you're not putting 20% down, you don't have the option to not escrow. So number one, you're going to have to pay 1 year of insurance up front regardless. So if the insurance policy is $3,000, you now have $3,000 extra tacked onto the closing cost right away. And then they're going to add 3 months of escrows for the insurance policy. So that's another $750 on a $3,000 policy. And then you have your tax escrows, which are going to be variable to the property because property taxes vary, but they're going to collect, depending on the time of year, anywhere from 3 to 6+ months for that as well.
So for those of you guys that don't know what escrow means, it's just a third party that's going to hold the funds until they're due. So that tells the lender, that way the lender knows that they will be paid. The lender does not have to worry that you won't pay the insurance because the money is already held for that purpose in a separate account.
Yes, and you can't just arbitrarily waive escrows unless you're putting 20% down. So if you're putting more than 20% down, you can say, I want to pay them on my own, and then you don't have to set up an escrow account. So
then you have to also prepare, if your buyer doesn't do that, they have to know that they have to save the money. And
most people don't want to do that because they don't want to get popped with a bill twice a year for tax and insurance.
right.
So, but I would say on a sliding scale, you know, on the standard, like let's say 250 loan amount, your closing costs, I generally tell buyers to prepare them. If you assume they're going to be like 8,000, 9,000, you'll be very safe. So, you know, if it's a single family home, $250,000 loan amount, they're going to have anywhere from 8,000 to 9,000, most likely, between insurance and everything else we just talked about in total closing costs. So when buyers that were pre-qualifying don't have enough funds for down payment and closing costs, we don't want to deter them. So we let them know, listen, talk to Lindsay. She's awesome. She's a great negotiator. Some sellers will negotiate a seller concession. And we let them know, you know, that's up to the negotiation. It's not a guarantee, but you could offset some of your closing costs with a seller concession, but it's case by case basis. And we also let them know to help you out. Like, look, if you're trying to buy something for 200, you can't offer them 190 and ask for a seller concession. You've got to come closer to their offer because at the end of the day, the seller concession is also taking away from what they're asking. So, but we make it clear to them that's something that you would be helping them with because you're the expert. So, you know, we don't tell them like, yeah, no big deal, go get a seller concession. We say, look, it's case by case. Not every seller wants to do it. Talk to your agent, you know, and that's how we explain it. So, you know, that would be the other option to try to help a buyer other than looking into a lender credit, which we explain as well. But a lender credit is not going to be able to cover all their closing costs like a seller concession could.
Do you feel that would it be okay for us to say to the borrower if they wanted an explanation and a breakdown of the closing costs to ask you, their lender?
Yeah, no, we always break it down for them. I mean, you know, like I said, it's just sticker shock to them is what happens, honestly, because they're so focused on down payment, the first time home buyers, that they're not expecting, you know, especially in the more median lower price point, they're not expecting it to be equal practically to their down payment in most cases. So that's really where, you know, we try to kind of explain to them and ease them into feeling comfortable with how to make it happen.
Got it. Okay, cool. Does anyone else have any questions for Mo about closing costs? Anything else they want to talk to Mo about before I hijack?
Hey, Mo, it's Anastasia. So I just have a quick question. I know you mentioned on average for a $250,000 home, it's about 8,000 to 9,000 closing costs. But what would you say, like, for instance, if a buyer is asking what an approximate range is, what would you say is something that we can say that's pretty truthful?
I mean, percentage wise, the smaller the loan amount, the higher percentage it becomes. So, you know, in the 200s, I would tell them 3.5% to 4% to be safe. You know, as you go higher, it becomes closer to 3%. So, you know, on a $400,000 home, it's probably around 3%. you know, maybe 2.5 if the taxes and insurance are low because it's a newer home and the premiums are lower. But, you know, on 100 something to low 200s, I would prepare them for, you know, anywhere from, you know, in the hundreds, I would say 4 to 5% to be safe. Again, it's hard to pinpoint because there are variables we won't know until we get quotes from title companies, you know, different things, insurance quotes. So, you know, I know we don't want to scare them, but we also want to prepare them. So, you know, it's kind of like a fine line to, you know, and we try to explain to them, look, the majority of everything is third party. So, you know, we have to get a tighter number once we piece it together. Once you get your insurance quote, once we figure out who the title company is and what their fees are. So, you know, percentage wise, that's how I would do it. If you want to just try to give them an idea based on percentages. In the hundreds, I would say 4 to 5%. In the 200s, I would say 3.5 to 4%. And then, you know, 300s and above, I would say roughly 3%.
Cool, thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mo.
All right, cool. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. You're free to drop off if you want.
All right, thanks.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. I have a lot to talk about this morning. Okay, can you guys see that okay? Can I get a thumbs up, somebody? Thank you. Okay, so on our agenda today, I want to talk quickly about the market and what we're all feeling. I want to talk about sellers, and I need you guys to understand all of the tools that you have available to you, how and when you can use them. Buyers, I'm going to review one thing that you must tell your buyers in today's market, why the investor event will change your life, and then some things that are coming up in the coming weeks, including our new sales manager who's starting on Monday. So, regarding the market, I hope you guys are feeling it because I know I am. And we need to use this data to help us sell even more. So as real estate professionals, as salespeople, it's very important that we give people numbers, give people information to help them understand the process, to help them understand their needs, and to help them feel smart about what they're doing. So when it comes to listings, one thing that you guys must be talking about right now is the fact that, okay, so I know that this is a lot of information. I'm gonna walk you through some data that you can use, and I've highlighted the key points. So the first thing, from a data perspective, this is something that you can specifically use with sellers who are maybe on the fence about selling. You can also use this with buyers to help them understand how urgent it is that they move quickly and they put their best foot forward. So after 2 months of declines, which we all know was due to the pandemic in March and April, buyers did not buy and sellers did not sell. All of a sudden in May, pending home sales came roaring back. Every region in the United States posted a month-over-month increase, including the South, which bested its levels from a year ago. So you need to make sure that when you talk to a seller, you explain that to them, that right now pending home sales are roaring. That's a great word. And that every single region has posted an increase month over month, despite the fact that the pandemic is still going on, right? The other thing, NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors, their pending home sales index, which is a forward-looking indicator. What that means is that tells us about the future of the market. It had the highest month-over-month gain in the history of the index, which went back to 2001. So right now, we are at 99.6. An index of 100 is essentially equal to where we were in 2001. The other thing that I think is critical, if you guys know who, I forget his first name, but they're the chief economist of the National Association of Realtors is Economist Yun, Y-U-N. And this next quote says that more listings are appearing. However, more home construction is needed to counter the persistent underproduction of homes over the past decade. Now, why is that important? When you talk to a seller and they're maybe on the fence, I want you to explain to them that now is a very unique time in the world. And because there has been an underproduction of homes over the past decade, it's very likely that their home will sell quickly and it will sell for top dollar. So NAR, the National Association of Realtors, is also projecting growth 4.93 million units in 2020, and then in 2021, 5.35 million units for existing homes. So again, those are factors that contribute to a very strong market. And you can use that with your buyers and your sellers, because you can feel confident that if a buyer buys a home now, year over year, you compare the value today to the value 12 months from now, all of this data, a betting man would say that it's going to go up. And with the seller, if somebody needs to sell for any reason, it's a great time to sell because it will sell fast. New home sales took a similar upward turn, but the pending data is the most important indicator of the market because it covers existing homes. Existing homes represent 80 to 90% of sales. So again, this next sentence is really interesting. Basically, this sentence says that May closings could represent, even though they were high, right, month over month, it's still a low point, and June and July are going to look even better. So if every single one of you on this phone call aren't feeling this right now, you're doing something wrong, because there are multiple offers on every single listing. Our buyers are more urgent than ever. And all of this data is data that you can use to help explain to your clients the reality of what's happening in the market. Does anybody have any thoughts, comments, questions about any of these items that I just talked about? Do you guys feel this as well? Yes?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so I want to talk about listings because it is such an important time right now. People that have the listings are people that have the power. We have seen a lot more listings. We talked a few weeks ago about the fact that the #1 source for seller leads, if you guys remember, is what? Does anyone remember?
Buyers.
That's right. Buyer leads is the #1 source for seller leads. So as an office, we have a lot of tools that you can use at different stages of the listing game. I've divided it into 4 different sections. The first is prospecting tools. So those are when you talk to potential sellers. The second is pre-listing tools. So someone that's committed to working with you or at least letting you present to them. The third is what to do during the listing appointment. And then the last is once you've got the listing, then what? So prospecting tools. I put Sync in here because Sync has a lot of good templates as well as drip campaigns that you can use with people that are considering selling. Another tool that you can use with people that are considering selling is what we call the 50-point CMA. I need to be very clear with this because I think there was some confusion. The purpose of the 50-point CMA is to give people a range of value. You should not use the 50-point CMA when you're trying to price a property. That is not the point of it. The point of the CMA is to help engage somebody that you want to help sell, that you want to do a listing presentation for. So right now, or if you did not use this, and a lead said to you, yeah, I'm considering selling. So your response to that might be, okay, great, I'd love to list it. Can I come over and see it? And they might not open up to you. They don't know you. This tool is going to help you to get people to open up to you and talk to you more about their home and the possibility of listing it. So the purpose is to provide value. So when someone says, yeah, I'm considering listing my home, and then you say, well, great, I'd love to give you a range of value, something called a 50-point CMA, which uses 50 data points to help give you a better idea of what you might net if you were to list your home. The purpose of the 50-point CMA is to help you provide value to a potential seller and in the form of a range of their possible sales price. It's to help you better understand their home value and to help them get to know you. So it gives you that next step. Now, there are a number of items on Drive. One of them is our listing presentation script. And again, that's what you're going to use in order to get someone to spend more time with you and discussing their home and the possibility of listing it. So I linked all of these items that I'm going to go over today, by the way, are all available under Drive. So this is the 50-point CMA script. I highlighted the most important thing here, which is that we provide a unique service for sellers. It's a free valuation so that you'll know what you would net if you sold your home in the next few months. It's a lot like a real estate appraisal, but appraisals cost $400 to $500, and this is free. If you have some time, let's schedule it right now. Now, again, if someone says to you, and if someone is open and you can schedule the listing presentation without this CMA, then that's okay too. But this is a tool to overcome maybe difficult sellers or sellers who aren't open to it. This is going to help you get them to open up. Does anybody have any questions about this? You guys understand how this works?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
So this takes place during our first initial conversation. It's not like a follow-up, right? Or this is what I'm asking. So would we want to set this time aside? Because I feel like if it's the initial conversation, can you hear me?
Yeah, I just have to move because I'm so hot. I'm going to go to the front room.
Okay. So in the initial conversation, is it, try to build rapport and then schedule a time to be able to go over the benefits of the 50 point, and then try to, since we're already there, try to do the presentation following?
No.
No.
I wouldn't do the listing. Wait, when you say presentation, Roni, are you talking about the listing presentation?
I'm talking about the online presentation that we have.
I would not do them both at once, no.
Okay.
I would start with this. So, Roni, I guess what I want you to think about this as, this is a tool. It's a pre-listing tool to engage, it's a prospecting tool to engage a seller. So in order to get us to stand out from every other listing agent out there, think about every other agent, right? If a seller says to any agent, I'm thinking about selling, that agent's gonna say, great, let me come over and let me do my presentation for you. So if someone says to you, no, Roni, I'm not ready for that, this is what you use instead. You could say, no problem. If you're not ready for me to do my listing presentation and visit your property and talk to you about how I can list and sell your home, let me give you this instead. And this is going to give you an idea of the value of your home and what you would net if you sold it. So this is more of a prospecting tool, and it gives you the ability to spend more time talking to a seller about their home and to learn about them and to get them to be more comfortable with them and to build trust and to build rapport. It's not meant to be an accurate value. It's just meant as a quick tool that you can use to market your services. So I hope that answers your question. So what I would do is I would do this, do the 50-point CMA with somebody. I know Courtney's done it through email. So she's emailed it to them. You can do it through Zoom. And then if you email, you would just call and talk about it. And then once you're at the end of it, you would say, great, now that we've done the value, I'd love to schedule a time to see your home and review with you all the other things that I do, or all of the marketing tools that I have to help you. Courtney, could you maybe share with us how you do it? Here, I can unmute you if you want. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, so when they mentioned that they had to sell their home, I said, well, can I do a 50-point valuation to give you an idea of the range of price that your home can sell for? And I said, I won't know for sure until I actually see your home, where in the range it will fit, but this will give you an idea. So then they said, oh yeah, that'd be great. I said, okay, let's schedule it for tomorrow at 5 o'clock. So then what I did is I just emailed it to them. And then they pulled it up, and we just walked through it, and I explained how I got 50 points of data, and that gives a range of what the home would sell for. And then from there, we scheduled the actual in-home presentation, listing presentation, which I did the other day, and then I got the listing.
So remember, you guys, these guys don't know us, right? So for us to say to somebody when they call, oh, we want to come over and see your house, and we want to take your most valuable asset, and we want to be responsible for it, that's a pretty big ask. Now, if you do ask and people are open to it, then that's great. But if they're not open to it, this is a tool that you can use to help them understand our value and why they need to work with us. It helps you build the relationship. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. So these are the two tools that I would use in prospecting. I would use the 50-point CMA, and I would use that script. Now, the next step in the process is going to be what I call the pre-listing. So I have a list of questions that you can use, and I also have some videos. So the pre-listing questions, this is a questionnaire that you can use if you're on the phone with a lead or if you're talking to a possible seller, wherever it might be. These are some questions that you can ask. What is your ideal sale time? Where are you moving? What is your motivation? What would happen if you didn't sell? Have you thought about how much you'd like to list the home for? What did you originally pay? How much do you owe? Are you currently listed? What is most important to you? Are you interviewing other agents? And will all decision makers be there when we meet? So this list of questions in the example that Courtney just gave us, after she did the 50-point CMA and she scheduled the in-home presentation, these are some questions these questions will come up, but if you want a reminder, this is the list that I would use to make sure that you ask all of the pertinent questions. The other thing that I would, sorry, go ahead. Somebody asked a question?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, would you recommend asking any of these on the phone or strictly only in person?
Oh, absolutely. I would recommend asking this on the phone.
Okay.
So understand, you guys, all of these tools exist for you, but they by no means don't have to be used. It really depends on your interaction. I know many of you guys that have gone to listing presentations that they don't want to see a full presentation. They don't need you to go through and show them our marketing plan. If that's the case, that's okay. But if somebody does need you to do it, you need to know that it's here for you. And for those of you that are newer, this will absolutely help you understand the process. So this intake form, Lindsay, like you can use this over the phone. You can skip the CMA and go right to, hey, I'd like to come over and do my listing presentation for you, as well as see the home and get to know you guys a little bit. When's a good time for me to do that? And if they say, oh, we're not sure, you can say, you know what, instead of that, why don't we do a 15-minute Zoom presentation so I can show you a little bit more about the value. And then if that's something that you like and you enjoy that presentation, we can then schedule the next step, which would be the in-home presentation. So I need you guys to understand each of these items so you understand how to use it, how and when to use it. But you by no means have to use it. A lot of you guys have been listing already on your own without using any of these tools. I believe that if you use these tools correctly, it will help you get more listings. Does that make sense? Okay, the other thing I would do, in addition to the pre-listing questions, so prior to showing up at their home, the idea is that you gain all of that information before you show up there. The next thing that I would do is once you've scheduled the appointment, so for example, Courtney, when that couple, after your 50-point CMA, they felt comfortable with you. And I know that they felt a little nervous because their home was full of stuff, as you said. Before you even, what I would have done is said, okay, great, I'm glad to go to your home and do the presentation with you in your home. And then I would have sent an email with these videos, which will just give them a better idea of who we are. I want them to know that these videos are professional. It shows that we're current, that we use video marketing. So remember, whoever it is that we're speaking to, most likely, especially if they're a lead, they don't know who we are. And these videos are short, quick ways to establish credibility. So in Drive, I'm going to walk you through the folders in a second, but there are a number of videos that you can use. They're very quick, and it just says something along the lines of list with us, right? So these are, like, this is the short video. I'll quickly play it so you guys can see it. Has everyone seen these videos already? So again, this is an option for you, something that you can use to help you confirm and make sure that you're getting those listing appointments. Do you have to use it? No. Is it available to use? Yes. I think because I'm far away from the router, it's giving us a little bit of a hard time. I'm not going to play these videos now, but I'll send out links later. but understand how and when you can use these videos in the process. So I would do something, send an email that says, looking forward to meeting you tomorrow at noon. Here are some videos that talk a little bit more about who we are. And what the videos say is just says, we're a marketing company, we're a listing company, and we want you to list with us. That's all it says. So these are two tools that I would use in the pre-listing stage. Now, once you get to the point when you are there at their home for the listing appointment, again, depending on the seller, you can skip all of these and go right to a listing agreement. I've done that. You can tell normally if someone's open to it. If they're not open to it and you need to spend a little bit more time getting to know them, all of these tools are things that you can use to talk about our process. So this first item here is a script. Did I not link it? Hold on. Okay, so this is the link to the Prezi listing presentation. All of you guys should have seen this by now. I'll quickly walk through a little bit of it just so you can see how it works. While that's loading, I want to show you under the, right now, can you guys all see the screen, the drive that I'm on? Yeah? Okay. Under the listing folder, where it says training and other docs for you, the agent, all of these items is what I'm going over today. So we've got the pre-listing items in here, the info sheet, which is the questionnaire I just showed you. There's a sample CMA. This is the script to use. And this is that same question sheet, just another name for it. Under the listing items, oh wait, sorry. After you do your pre-listing, then is the items to prepare and use during the listing appointment. All of these items here are available to you right here where it says script. This is the script that you can use to go along with the presentation. It walks you through everything. So it's about 4 pages. In my opinion, you guys, I don't think you really need a script because all you need to do is click, and every time you click, the presentation takes you to the next item. And if you read the item and if you know what if you understand it, it's pretty easy to go through. Can someone, has anyone here done the Prezi listing presentation? Can anyone provide feedback? Or how, I know Maria, are you still on the phone?
I'm here.
So Maria,
I did it.
Tell me how,
I did
what it was like for you.
I did it twice. Hold on my phone. I did it twice and they love it. It's very good. It's very nice one. I didn't do the videos because I thought it was too long.
Right. So there are 2 versions of this listing presentation. There's one with the video embedded and there is one without. I would recommend, like Maria said, do the presentation without the video, but send them the video separate.
Right.
And remember, I know Maria, a lot of times you go for listings and they know you and they trust you and they don't need this.
Right.
So you don't always have to use it, but if you do have a seller that doesn't know you, this is a great tool that you can use to explain all the things that we do to help list. I think Courtney has. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go through it. And so it's simple that we do. I mean, of course, it has to have our. Yeah, and customize. Okay, so what's that? Okay, so under the under this folder in Drive, where it's the folder name is items to prepare for your listing. All of these items, you guys I encourage you to walk through them. I have a sample listing agreement. I have a PDF version of the listing presentation. The marketing plan, if somebody asks you, what are you doing to market our home? This is a specific plan with 25 different things that we do. You can also edit this, by the way, so you can make it specific to their home. This is a good one. When you're at the listing and after you've done the listing presentation, I recommend the seller notes. And what this is I want you to go through the home with the homeowners, and I want you to ask them all of these questions. All of these questions are going to be critical as you market and sell the home. You need to know things like their monthly maintenance, what it includes, how many homes are in the community, how much is their property insurance. All of these questions will enable you to effectively answer questions when buyers or agents ask. So I recommend writing all of these questions down. The age of the home, what year did they buy the property, age of the roof, the age, size of the water heater, all of these things, right? So what I recommend doing, so far we've talked about a lead calls in and a lead says they're considering their home, but they're not open to working with you. So what do you say? You say, give me 15 minutes of your time, Mr. Seller, and I will show you a range of value. Great. The gentleman does that with you and you impress him. He agrees to meet you. Now you go to his home and you conduct the Prezi listing presentation. He loves it. He says, okay, I'm in. So now what you do is you say, great, let's go over information about your property. Then you go through all of this. I promise you, if a homeowner spends time to answer all these questions, they're going to list with you. They're not going to want to go and spend more time doing it with somebody else. At that listing appointment, by the way, you must leave there with a signed listing. You cannot wait. You cannot say, okay, I'll email it to you. That doesn't work. You have to bring a copy, have them sign it right there, you sign it right there, and then you scan them a copy later. You cannot leave. If you leave, I promise you, they will talk to somebody else. They will change their mind. It must be right then and there. So we have the listing marketing plan, which is what I just showed you, the listing presentation. Now, what do you do if somebody asks you, they want you to list their home for 5%? What do you do? So my answer to that is, well, we are a full service company and we charge 3%. If you'd like, we can offer 2.5 to the cooperating broker, which would mean your total commission paid is 5.5. I'm willing to do that. Now, if they still say they want to do it for 5, we have what we call our listing services menu. And essentially it shows them that if you do it for 5%, they're going to get less value for it. And what you can also explain is that we are going to market their home firm, just like we are firm with our price. Our commission is 3%. So these 3 options, I don't know why that black bar is there. It wasn't there because maybe it's in Word. But if you look at this in a normal format, the silver option, which is the 5% option, doesn't give them these items at the bottom here. And the 3% option for us includes aerial photos, video marketing, social media ads, a website, and landing pages. And then the platinum, which is a 7%, includes additional items, including printed brochures, a 3D virtual tour, staging, and so on. Now, this menu, by the way, you can adjust based on your own needs, based on what you want to offer. But the point is that we are a full service company and you are a full service agent. Never discount your own commission. And you can explain that to them. I will not give away my money, just like I'm not going to give away your money. If somebody calls me to make an offer on your home and they want to offer less, I'm going to be firm with them, just like I'm firm with you. I charge 3%. I charge full service. It's not a big difference, but by working with me, you're going to net more because I'm going to be equally firm in negotiating your property. So this listing services menu, I don't recommend using it in every presentation. I do recommend printing it and having it with you in case this comes up. I promise you are going to have sellers, they're going to look you in the face and they're going to say, oh, well, Joe neighbor told me that Mary Realtor will do it for 4%. And you say, absolutely, there are realtors that will do it for 4% or less. Are you going to get any value for that? Just like if you were to go to a discount hotel, it's the same idea. So I would have this with you so that you can show this to people if they ask you to reduce your commission, and I would be firm. And by the way, I'm not authorizing any of you to accept 2.5. If they ask you to accept 2.5, you need to tell them that we're a full service company and that you have to get express authorization from me in order to get that 2.5%. I'm okay with offering 2.5 outside, but I'm not okay with us taking 2.5, especially in today's market. Yes, Courtney.
Well, and when you said we have to get that signed when we're there, so should we step out and go call you and say, let me step out and go talk to my broker?
Absolutely, absolutely. And then what I can do, go ahead, Court.
I was gonna say, my people tried to get it down this weekend a little bit, and I said, well, we charge 3%. We can do 2.5 to somebody else, but I would not recommend that because those other agents are going to show the homes that are at 3% to their clients over your home. That was my answer, and they're like, oh, okay, we're sticking with 6% then.
Perfect. Yeah, if people ask you these questions, by the way, it's okay. Just be prepared to answer it. You don't need to give in. You don't need to say yes to everything that they're asking you. Just be prepared to have the answers. And if you get nervous, just say, I'm not authorized to accept 2.5 because we are a full service company. Let me step out and call my broker, in which case you can do that with me. And I will probably tell you no. And then you have to, I mean, listen, I don't want to lose any listing, of course not. But I want to make sure that you guys are firm about this point. Part of what they pay us to do is to negotiate. Why would you be quick to let them negotiate with you in a way where you lose, right? Any
I have a question. Yeah, question. If we're presenting this services menu and it does say the silver for 5%, is that automatically assumed that the cooperating brokerage would get 2% and then we would take 3%, or is that like a 2.5 break, or should we change silver to like 5.5%?
That's a very good point. And I think we should change it, and I will. This is an edit. This copy, by the way, we can edit this. So I want you guys to understand that not every listing is the same, and not every seller is the same. You guys need to use your best judgment on what we can do to make sure we list the home correctly. So, but that's a really good question, Lindsay, and I'll change it because what it really should say is 3 plus 2.5, and then 3 plus 3, and then 3 plus, or 3.5 plus 3.5. So I'll make a few different versions of this menu. All of them will be saved in this folder where it says items to prepare for your listing. And that way, when you go, have all the stuff printed. It's up to you guys to be prepared, right? There's no such thing as luck. Only preparation meets opportunity. So if you want to get more opportunity and get more deals, you've got to go through all these items. I've got a listing objection scripts, questions that you can ask. There's a lot of information here. There is a day-by-day listing agreement, by the way, which is something that Jeff Cook's team uses. I don't love it, but if you guys feel the need, if you cannot get them to sign that day, as a last ditch effort to get them to sign, you can say, listen, if you sign today, I'm willing to give this to you day by day, which means you can cancel at any time. And this explains it. That their right is to cancel it at any point. So there's no reason why all of us shouldn't be getting more listings. We've got everything we need. All right, let me go back to here. Okay, so I went over the presentation script. I went over the presentation. There's a marketing plan, which spells out everything we do. There's a listing services menu, which you can use if you need to. I don't recommend it unless you have to. And there's a seller note, which will make sure the seller spends more time with you, going over their home and all the different, all the information about it, so that you can correctly answer questions from buyers and sellers who want to know things like the age of the roof, etc. All right. Now, when you've actually listed the home, what can you do? Well, these 4 tools are available to you, again, on Drive. The first is I have a copy of an email that I recommend sending when the listing goes live. The second is some words that you can use that are good to help in your listing description. The third is an email that summarizes the activity that you should be sending every single week. And then the fourth is an opening email. The opening email is what you're going to use to send to all parties when you get the listing under contract. So if I go back to Drive, if I go under...
Is that linked in your presentation?
No.
No. Okay.
I ran out of time, but it's right here under listing items. So under listing items, there's this, which Courtney, this was great. You copied one of mine and I just left it in there. So thank you for that. This is a sample copy of an email. And what you're gonna send to your sellers is, the subject is your listing is live. First of all, I wanna thank you for the opportunity to help you list your home. Let me make this a little bigger. I've attached more information on our marketing plan, and then I want you to copy and paste links. This is a link to your active listing. This is a link to your YouTube video. These are a link to your website, your landing pages. In Courtney's case, she made it the cover photo at premierlistings.com, which by the way, any of you guys can do, just let me know and we can do it. She linked it up to Zillow. So all of these things tell your seller that you are doing your job. So this needs to go out on day one of getting the property in the MLS. Your listing is live. The next thing is, oh, I don't have the weekly email in here. I'll put it in here, but essentially what the weekly email is every Friday, you should be sending your friendly Friday emails that tell your sellers, this is what happened this week. And all that is a summary. We've had 4 phone calls. We've had 3 showings. I've had 1 person with an interest in an offer. When you go on Zillow, by the way, it'll tell you how many people have clicked. You can say we've had 140 people click your home. We've had 7 people save it. All of that information is going to help the seller understand all of the work that you're putting into it. If you do not email them every week, they will not think that you are listing or marketing and working for their home, and they will not recommend you. So those are the things that I recommend doing once the listing is active. And that's really it. That's all I have for listings. Does anybody have any questions on listings or any of these tools? Do you guys all understand how to use each of these tools? Do you think this will be helpful?
Yes.
Great. All right, let's talk quickly about buyers. So what I'm seeing and what I've learned over the past couple of in working with buyers, oh boy. What I've learned is that buyers think that another realtor will magically be able to find them some property that you can't. And what they will do is whatever they think they need to do in order to get that property that they think that they want. So what will they do? They will lie to you. They will go around your back. They're going to make phone calls and they're going to do research on their own, right? So don't think that when people talk to you that they're not going to go and do any of these things, because they almost always will. Because there is such demand right now and there is such a frenzy for buyers to buy, what can we do to prevent buyers from working with other realtors and hanging up the phone with you and calling somebody else? Does anybody have any thoughts on what we can do to prevent that?
Give value in a buyer-broker agreement?
Yes, of course, value, and absolutely a buyer-broker agreement will help. I do think it's going to be more challenging now to get people to sign buyer brokers, but absolutely. In addition, Roni, and thank you for sharing. In addition, one thing I think that is going to be really helpful in preventing buyers from working and calling other realtors is this. Address it. Tell them, I want you to know that I can help you buy any home on the market. I have access to every home that every other realtor does. You need to tell them that. They don't know that. They think that other realtors maybe have access to homes that you don't, and we all know that that's not true. Tell them, my goal is to deliver to you what you are looking for. So ask them, what are your absolute must-haves? What is something that you cannot have in a home? What can I do to better pinpoint your home search? And are you seeing the right homes emailed to you? Right before this call, Mo and I were talking, and he was telling me as a lender, he's seeing, because of this buyer frenzy and because of all this demand, the realtors that send him business are getting screwed over, for lack of a better term, because buyers are so eager that they are calling whoever they can call to try and get whatever they can, because realtor number 1 maybe didn't address it. So what you can do to prevent somebody from calling around without you is tell them. You can tell them, I can access any home that's available. Just let me know. And ask them, what is it that you absolutely need? Because the other thing that Mo and I were saying is that the borrowers would call Mo, the lender, and the borrower would say to Mo, oh, realtor number one keeps sending me homes without a pool, and I told them I need a pool. So I called realtor number two, and they're sending me homes that only have a pool. So the point is that the way to counteract a buyer from going around you is to listen. If somebody says, I do not want a home in a membership community, and you send them even one in a membership community, you've just lost yourself a buyer. If a buyer says, I need to have 3 bedrooms, and you send them a 2-bedroom, you've just lost yourself a buyer. So it's a combination of communicating effectively, telling buyers what your job is. Explain it to them. My job is to negotiate on your behalf, to protect your interests, and to make sure this transaction goes smoothly. I can also help you find anything on the market. So if for any reason you're seeing homes that are emailed to you that you don't like for any reason, just tell me and I will revise your search. Cool, does anybody have any questions about that? You guys think that'll be helpful? Great. All right, let's talk about the investment, the 3-day investment seminar that's coming up July 27th, 28th, and 29th. First of all, I want to explain to you guys why investing in real estate matters. First of all, I assume all of you guys realize that because you're all real estate professionals, so you all understand the value of real estate. 90% of millionaires become so through owning real estate. More money has been made in real estate than all industrial investments combined. The wise young man or wage earner of today invests his money in real estate. This was by Andrew Carnegie, who we all know. Real estate investing, even on a very small scale, remains a tried and true means of building an individual's cash flow and wealth. Buying real estate is not only the best way, it's also the quickest way, the safest way, and the only way to become wealthy. So, the 3-day event, I have all the slides in here that I did 2 weeks ago. I'm going to quickly go through them again because I want you guys to understand how important this company is in your future and in building wealth. So the mission statement of the company is to offer real estate solutions to change homeownership for both buyers and sellers that traditional real estate companies cannot provide. The vision statement is to help you create wealth, to use real estate as a gateway for wealth within the community, and that community starts with us. Every single one of you on this phone call. In this slide, I talk about all the different advantages of real estate investing, and I talk about the disadvantages, and I talk about how each of these disadvantages this company, Premier Listings Offers, will address for you. These are all the different tools that we are going to offer to homeowners. Taking over payments, lease options, seller financing, portfolio management, land trusts. As a portfolio manager, you, without investing a single penny, can make a profit or earn a profit of 30% of whatever the profit is of that property. And all of that information is here in this slide, which you're free to access, by the way. Of course, all of these slides are available to you on Drive under Premier Listings, the Office Meetings folder. So why should you do this? And why is it so important? I know it's a big price tag. I get it. When I first heard that price, I was like, whoa. I was in shock at how much the cost of a ticket is. That ticket is going to make you way more money than that $1,500 cost. And by the way, I will still be firm on my word that if I get enough attendees, I will be able to lower the price. The price is directly indicative of the cost I'm spending. It's a huge fee to send Jeff Cook's team down here for 3 days. I have to pay for their flights and their hotel and their food. And understand what you're getting. You're getting 3 full days of training, 9 to 5. I'm going to provide lunch for you. And then you also are going to get access to webinars for the following 10 weeks. Every other week, Jeff's team will answer our questions. So what that means is if you go through the 3-day training and you still have questions, or maybe something didn't quite, sit well with you, or you didn't quite get it, you have access to him for 5 more meetings when you can say, hey, Jeff, I don't understand. How does it work when you take over payments? And by the way, what you're also getting as part of your ticket is you're getting his expertise in analyzing your deals. So for example, I know Michelle had a deal she brought to us, and Mark and I were trying to figure it out, and we really couldn't. So I went to Jeff and I said, Jeff, how can I get this deal to work where it's profitable for all parties? He helped me engineer the transaction to all parties. Now that specific instance didn't work. And let me also tell you that you're gonna find a lot of possibilities and they're not all gonna work. Maybe, I don't know, 1 out of 10 will work. But the 1 out of 10 that does work is going to help you build wealth without you risking any of your own funds. It is a miraculous, amazing opportunity. This is not one of those get rich quick schemes. This is an actual plan. This is 3 days of you learning and then 10 follow-up weeks. And by the way, Jeff and his team are doing 200 sales like this year, and they're gonna make revenue of $2.2 million. So we're doing this and it's tried and true. It's not like some idea that I have that I don't know if it works. This has already been proven to work. The only reason it wouldn't work is if you didn't attend. That's it. You've got to attend and be willing to push yourself out of your comfort zone and be willing to invest in yourself. And this opportunity, I'm not planning on doing anymore. So this is kind of like a once in a lifetime opportunity as far as I'm concerned. If future agents want to participate in this program, I will tell them they have to go to South Carolina, because Jeff does this event in his own area in South Carolina. It's the same $1,500 cost for a 3-day ticket. So you're free to plan in the future to attend his events instead of the one here in your own office, but then you're going to be responsible to pay for your travel costs. Plus, I am still trying to get the cost down based on how many people I get to attend. So the cutoff date, by the way, to register is tomorrow, the 30th. So if you have any questions and you want to talk to me about it one-on-one about payment plans or whatever, please let me know. If you haven't already, you must use that Eventbrite link to register so I know that you're coming. I also did ask, I think it was Kyle wanted, or I suggested to Kyle that he talked to an agent in South Carolina that was doing traditional real estate that then transferred over to the offers, or to do the offers program as well as traditional real estate. So I have a number of an agent there, a phone number, that if any of you guys have questions and you want to ask her, and don't trust me, call her and ask her about it. Or watch those videos that I sent you. There are links to videos of other agents discussing how they've used this investment program to help them build wealth. Okay. Any questions before I go to the last slide? Does anyone have any questions at all about the investor event that we're doing? Listen, I know we talked about a lot today.
How many more spots do we have available? Because I know it's limited.
That's a good question. I want to say 2.
Okay, so 2 more spots. All right.
Does anybody else have any questions about it? Most of you guys on this call, I think, are already registered. And if you are already registered, good, you did the right thing. It's important sometimes to take risks. I realize it's a lot of money, but it's worth it. I've done the training myself, and I can't wait to do it again. I'm super excited about it. I know Mark did the training too. I think Mark would also agree with me that there's a lot to learn. We are closing on our first premier listings offers property, I think today, maybe today or tomorrow. So that's cool. We're soon gonna have a new listing when we repair it and put it back on the market. If anybody is looking for a property in Nautica Isles, we will soon have a freshly renovated and painted home. Cool. All right. Last slide. Okay, this Friday at noon, CJ Esposito with JK Closings is doing a contract review course. I'll send out information. For those of you that are newer, like Anastasia, Victor, I recommend joining this class. Thursday at 4:30, we are going to do a 1-hour power hour virtually, of course. There is no role playing. Next week, Monday, July 6th, Steve Rawl, who is our new sales manager, is going to be starting. So I encourage you to help me welcome him to the office. His goal is going to be very simple, which is to help each and every one of you sell. So make sure that you use him to your advantage. The following week, July 14th, 15th, and 16th will be our new agent orientation. So that will be from 9 to 12 in the back conference room.
How many more people do you need for that? Just so I know.
That one's basically full. It's me, Victor, Anastasia, Matt, Steve. Yeah, I maybe have space for one more. I'm hesitant to get too many people in. I'm still and all of us should still continue to be very careful with wearing masks and making sure we're washing our hands and sanitizer and all of that. It's still very much a risk, very much a threat. So I really hope everyone is doing their best to stay safe. That's part of why I decided not to do these meetings in this office. And I will continue to do them through Zoom. I will continue to record them. So I know we've been talking about a lot today. What I'll do is send out a link to this presentation, to the recording, and then also some follow-up links. So I'll send you the link for the contract class on Friday for those of you that want to attend. I'll send a link to both pay and register for the investing event. I think that's it. Those are all the links that you'll need. All of the tools we ran over today, all the listing tools are all available to you in Drive under the listings folder. Please look through there. There's a lot of good stuff in there, and understand how you can use each of those resources when you have a listing opportunity. Cool. Thank you guys so much. Wishing everyone a great day.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.